afternoon because there's a number of people who are not able to make it because of the size of the production. We wanted to make sure that everyone got the same information. So we don't normally record information afternoons, but we are recording this one. So, firstly, welcome. We're very excited to be presenting Les Miserables next year. It's hard to believe that it's been 25 years since we did the original, and some people were here when we did the original. Robin Edgar was here when we did the original, and she was the musical director then. And there's a number of people who are re-auditioning 25 years down the track, so that's actually pretty special for us as an organisation. I'd like to introduce you to some people who are in the team so that it's clear as to who is who. So Shannon is the assistant director, so she's been my assistant now on a couple of shows. We work really well together, and she's used to my erratic stage blocking and writes all the directions down as I yell them to people. Nigel Dick, who is the president of the Playhouse UDA, is the technical director. So he is involved in basically getting all of those elements, those technical elements and the staging together. He is actually auditioning as well, so he is not involved in the audition process, but he's heavily involved in the design side. Christopher Arnold is our music coordinator for the whole theatre, and he plays a very important part in this show as well. Robin Edgar and Leanne Hutchings are our musical directors or our vocal coaches, and Chris is also involved in that process as well. He's done a lot of work working out what we're doing at rehearsals to this date. And Chris is auditioning as well, but he will not be on the audition panel for the men, so that there can't be any discrepancy about him casting his help. Trevor Green will be doing some of the choreography. If you've seen the show before, you'll know that it's not a big dancey number show, but there are some numbers that do need to be blocked, and I feel I would like Trevor's sparkle in that department. Tracy Faithful, who is sitting up the back, and Diane Wills are our two stage managers behind, like off stage. And Tracy's here today, and Di's unable to be with us because of her involvement with the Crush Festival. And I'd also like to make note of Karen Harris, who was in our original stage crew team 25 years ago, and she also has a backstage role in this show as well. So Karen, just give a little wave. So Karen's going to be one of the people that you'll need to see a little later on. Okay, I want to preface by saying, please don't be overwhelmed by the number of people here today. There are people here who are parents who are not auditioning. There are people here who are part of the makeup crew. They're not auditioning. So there's a whole bunch of people who are sitting in the theatre that aren't auditioning. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed and think, you know, I don't stand a chance because there's just so many people there. It will be a numbers game, and I will elaborate on that a little bit later. We have allowed ourselves plenty of time with our auditions to make sure that we are not rushed and we don't feel pressured, and to also ensure that you don't feel rushed and you don't feel pressured. If you are unable to make your time for your particular role, there are other audition dates there, and we are happy to accommodate you on another time. So let's start with Friday the 19th, and that is the first audition. And here we are going to be seeing anyone who is interested in being part of the ensemble only. So if you're auditioning for a lead, you do not need to audition on this date. If this is your first audition with us, or have done less than 3 shows, or you're not familiar to Robin, Leanne, myself and Chris, We're going to spend a little bit more time with you at the audition, getting to know you and your skills. We're going to actually group you into small groups and have it organised by the time you get here. So when you arrive on that day, you'll know if you are in group 1, group 2, group 3, group 4, group 5. And so that it's going to be a pretty slick process, so you're not wasting your time. So, today and then on Saturday the 20th, that's the first audition for the leads. The auditions start at noon, and before we go, I'll tell you at the end who you'll need to see to register. Because you do need to book a time. We're auditioning with the ladies first on that day. So we're going to start with the ladies at 12 o'clock, and then we're going to sort of slot the men in. We're thinking around 1:30. So the men will be auditioning from 1:30 onwards. And after you have done your solo audition on that day, you will be free to go. Friday the 26th is the callback audition for chorus. Now, you may not all get called back, and this may be because we've seen some leads who are not what we're looking for, and we need to mix them into the chorus with some people. If you don't get a callback, that does not necessarily mean you are not in the show. We're just trying to get, it's very much a numbers game with this show. On the 27th, that's our child audition, and it's going to be run like the chorus. We're going to put you into small groups. We'll bring you in those small groups. You will sing in those groups, and then there will be an improvised activity that I will run. And the aim of this activity is to see how well you respond to direction, how spontaneous you are, how you listen, which are things that are really important on stage. Then that evening is the callback for the leads. So it's a big day for us that Saturday the 27th. Then on the 31st, the cast will be announced on the website. So if your name is not on the website, then you have missed out on a role. On the days of audition, we ask that you will enter via the downstairs foyer, and make sure you let Tracy, Di or Karen know that you're here, so that we can get the groups together and make things move as quickly as possible. In the chorus, in the children's roles, so there are two featured children, one male, one female, and then we are going to include some other children, so that there's like a very, very small, tiny child chorus. Now, some of you I can see are probably borderline child. If you are 14 at the time of the audition, you will audition with the children. If you are 15 or 16, you will then audition with the adults. Okay? So just be aware of that when you have to go to register. Now, what else have I got? Oh, lots of things. We would really like to emphasize that you think about your suitability for the roles that you are auditioning for. You need to think of the vocal demands and the physical demands, and you also need to make sure that physically you fit the image, of the traditional cast. That's really important. If you've never seen the show, then I'm not sure why you're here today. So I think you all have an idea of what the characters are. So you will see that we've printed, what you need to know about the Les Mis audition. And it goes through A, the audition dates, and B, the roles and the requirements for like Cosette Junior, Cosette Eveline, Fontaine, Monsieur and Madame Tamalia, Gavroche, Jean Valjean, Marius, Javert, and Angelaris. So it's all pretty clear there that Robin and Chris are here today to answer any questions you will have about vocal range and any sort of vocal questions that you may have. Please speak to them before you go to them. We're also running our auditions a little bit differently in the sense that you can audition with any song that you like, that showcase that you feel really comfortable with, that showcases your ability. So, but we would like to suggest that you think about the style of show and you think about your choice. So it's probably, you know, not a good idea to sing cabaret for this audition because that's not really going to be suitable. So think about the style of the music and think about the characters that are in the show or the characters that are in the storyline, and make sure you choose something that as you're singing we can look at you and sort of go, yep, I can sort of see that person, we'll call them back. When you get a callback, you will be given a piece of music to then learn for your callback. So, and Robert and Chris have selected those. Okay. Now the casting sheet is really very important. You may fill it out today if you like and hand it to us. If you can, that's great. If you can't, that's not a problem. You will need to bring it with you on audition night, or you'll have to fill one out on audition night. You can't be involved in this production if you're not a member of the Playhouse Theatre. And that covers, that's really for health and safety. But because it is the second half of the year, you pay a half membership, which covers you to the end of the year. It means you get to come to the Players' Christmas party. And if you're naughty and you didn't renew your membership, you have to pay the full $50. $50? $50. So shame on you for not renewing. If you're a newbie, it's $25, I believe. The most important thing with this casting sheet is roles desired. If you would want to be considered for any role, put any role. If you only want a chorus, write chorus, ensemble. The reason why I'm stressing that is if for some reason we get to casting and we can't cast a specific role, we will then go to these sheets and we will then look to see who wrote any. And then we will get you to come in and come for a second audition. If you don't put any on there and you've heard that people have been called into audition and you haven't put any on there, you won't get a call. So you really need to think about your commitment at this point. So when you fill that out, are you happy to take any role? Or be specific? That will really, really help us when we are decision making. If you are not sure if you're an alto or a soprano or a tenor or a bass, that's a big concern. But we will put you in a box if we want to. And also if you've had choral experience, you know, singing in parts. Okay, moving on. I've spoken about giving you options, haven't I? Yep. Okay. This is a really tricky one for us, and particularly for me as a director. Casting is a heartbreaking thing to do because sometimes we have to make decisions that affect friendships, and we just have to draw a line and sort of go, no, I know that they're my friends, but they are just not suitable. It's really hard. It's the thing that we we dread. Not casting somebody is really a very yucky thing to do. And if we look around, there are going to be people who miss out, and we hate to be people who have caused that pain. But the bottom line is you are not going to be suitable for every role that you audition for, particularly young people. Okay, it's something that you have to learn, and it's a really, really harsh lesson. Les Mis is going to be a numbers game. If we don't get more men than what are here today, the female chorus will be very small. Because we cannot take 30 women in the chorus and have 10 men in the chorus, because the balance won't be there. So ladies, we suggest you find anyone that you know that can sing, and you get them to come along, because the more men that are at this audition, the more chance you've got of securing a role. You can smash your audition, you can get up there and you can sing it absolutely amazingly, but if we can't partner you with the right person, you're going to miss out. And there are so many times when you go to audition, you're left feeling completely disappointed because you don't understand. And it's hard to understand because you don't see what we see, you don't see the vision that I've created, and this team is aware of that. But for you, it's just a matter of I'm just not what they're looking for. It doesn't mean I'm not a talented singer or an actor. It just means on this occasion, I'm not what they're looking for, I'm not the right fit. Okay? So I think that's really important to understand, because particularly with existing members of the organisation, you know, you may have been cast, you may have done a lot of shows with us before, and you might find it hard. If you miss out, you might be thinking, I wonder why I missed out. And it could be because we need X amount of sopranos, X amount of altos, X amount of this, you know, so it really is a numbers game. If you would like to audition with a song from Les Miserable, that's totally okay, and I would ask you to see Christopher, and Christopher will send you the sheet music that you decide to audition with. Our audition pianist is Christina Lucas, sitting patiently and very quietly. She's not normally this quiet. Christy is accompanying us for the auditions and for the show. She's just amazing. She has also made herself available for quick rehearsals, quick practices and run through before the big day. Now, that's at your own expense. Okay, so if you want to have a practice with Christy before the day, that's great. You're just going to have to pay her, because it's what she does for a living. Okay? Now, the rehearsal schedule has all of the dates on there, and boy, it looks overwhelming, doesn't it? So let's look at the bonuses. Only 7 this year, on a Saturday afternoon. What else would you like to do on a Saturday afternoon? Come and have a sing. That's going to be great. And those 7 rehearsals, you are under the pump. So we are trying to learn the entire show in 7 rehearsals. We encourage you to bring your recording devices with you so you can learn your parts, so that you know what it is you're singing from Saturday to Saturday. It is a big commitment, and we understand that it's a big commitment. It's a big commitment for us as well. When you miss a rehearsal, it does impact greatly on everybody. You might think it's just you can't be there, and it's a little bit unfortunate, but it really really does set us back. So I think you need to be aware of the commitment that's there. And I think I've also put on on this one, the one that you need to bring, the info sheet, any dates you know you're going to be away, so that we can know that in advance, so that it has the minimal effect on blocking or on vocal work. Yeah. Now, I touched briefly on numbers. The numbers will show when we did Les Mis 25 years ago, there were 52 people in the cast. And we would like to have a few more, but it does depend on men. And the reason why we can't take everyone is because at the Moncrief there is very limited dressing room space. And so we've got to be conscious of health and safety at the Moncrief as well. The dressing rooms are small. There is just nowhere for you to go. So that is very much in the back of our mind, knowing that we have limited numbers. Okay, so let me just think. If this is your first audition with us as a company, we really do want to welcome you and encourage you. It's pretty special being part of a show at the Playhouse Theatre. What we love to do is produce the highest quality of live theatre performances that we can for our public, and we've been doing that for 60 years. So it's something we do very well, and it's something that we're really passionate about. So for all of you, please, please, please give it your best shot. Because if you're lucky enough to get in, you'll be hooked, and you will want to keep coming back for more. Okay, so I've got some general things that I'll want to talk about at the end. So before we sing, Chris or Robin, is there anything you want to add to that? Or should we have a sing and then...
Yeah, let's just sing.
We're having a sing, so mums, you get to do that as well today. Is that exciting? So that's bonus, and this is right in the front for me to hear her. Lovely time.
Okay, so can I get everybody to sort of shuffle forward so that we're not all sitting way at the back? Sorry. So what we want to try and do is just fill up the front few rows so that we are nice, bunched in.
You have to sing.
Let's do that again. I'll just listen instead of sing along. Ready? 2, 3, 4.
Red the blood angry men, black the dawn of ages past, red the world about to dawn, black the night that ends at last.
Good, excellent, good watching. Okay, now let's learn the middle part. So these are the notes in the middle. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Red the blood of angry men, black the dawn of ages past, red the world about to dawn, black the night that ends at last.
Awesome, let's do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Red the blood of angry men, black the dawn of ages past, red the world about to dawn, black the night that ends at last.
Good.
Somebody not blind.
Alright, let's split in half. So just sing it and have some feeling in it, because we're singing notes right now, not feeling all of the forms that goes into this, right? So we're angry, right? Let's be angry. And I don't want it to be lazy. I don't want to hear red the blood of angry men. Red the blood of angry men. Right? I want to hear that dum da dum da dum. Oh. Dum da dum da dum da dum. Oh. Dum da dum da dum. They're really important, okay? So really get that rhythm really crisp. Alrighty? So I'll let you guys pick a note this time.
Yeah, stand up, your lazy self. Sing it like you mean it.
Okay. Who's doing the bottom part? Hands up, who's just staying low. Red, lovely. Who's the middle part? Be brave in your middle part, people. It's tough, I know. Come on, let's give it a go. And the high bit, right. Right, here we go. 1, 2, 3, and
Red, the blood of angry men, blood the dawn of ages past. Red, the blood of mountains torn, black the night that ends us.
good. Okay, I'm hearing the top part a lot. So that's the type of thing that we're going to balance out in auditions and force people to sing not just the melody. Okay, because I need all those 3 parts to be really strong. Okay, good. Take a seat.
Okay. Alright. So just to finish off, for example, a couple of things I'd like to mention. So make sure you go over the rehearsal schedule and pay close attention to it. The monthly rehearsals are compulsory because we're paying a lot of money to be in there, so we need you there. Okay? Be prepared for both your audition and rehearsals. Arrive on time. Bring your recording devices. Dress for the audition where possible. The kids need to be able to move because I'll be getting you to do some crazy stuff. So, don't turn up in your tutu. Alright, so make sure you wear something that you can be really free and comfortable in, because you never know what I'll get you to do. Now, we don't normally rehearse on a Saturday, but we are for this show, because there are actually 2 other shows on the boards before this show. And they are rehearsing Sundays, so that we're not jumping from Saturday to Sunday to Saturday to Sunday. We're on Saturdays, okay? So that it means that Sundays are free for the other 2 shows. On that, there is an audition on Tuesday night for our last show of the year, Bunch of Amateurs. Which is a very, 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 very funny show, and it's directed by Nigel Dick. So if there is anyone here who didn't come to that information session 2 weeks ago, if you are interested in that or didn't know about that, please catch Nigel and he'll fill you in on that. And then the other show, which auditions after our show but goes on the boards before our show, is the first show up for next year, and I can't tell you what the name of that show is. It's a big secret. But I can tell you that it requires 4 ladies over the age of 40. It's a very, very, very funny show. So people might like to save themselves for that audition. It's totally up to you. So on the 10th, next Wednesday night, and we'll put this on Facebook, we're going to run just like a male workshop, a male acting and singing workshop, just so that the men are a little bit more comfortable coming to the audition. Christy's going to be there. I think these 2 are going to pop in or be there. So it's a great chance for you to have a practice with Christy. We're going to run some activities that make you feel a little bit more comfortable, and we'll just have a little bit of fun with that. So that's going to be 6:30 on Wednesday night. Now, if you are successful in getting in the show, something we've never done before but you can start thinking about is we need sponsors to help us get this on the boards. So if you know anyone who's like, I don't know, owns a business or is a principal of a Catholic school or owns a cake decorating company or anything like that, we're looking for major sponsors, and then every person has to find themselves a sponsor, and the sponsor makes a donation to the organisation and you get a free t-shirt. And they get featured in our program. So just also be thinking about that. Even if you're unsuccessful, you might know of some businesses that may be keen to throw some cash our way to help us make a profit. This is our biggest fundraiser for next year. Not only next year, but and beyond. We need to make some serious cash from this performance, because we've got some serious bills to pay. Like those lovely new toilets downstairs, we've got to pay for them. And I think we really are, wanting to keep improving this place, and one of those things is aircon. If you've ever sat in the audience here, it's either too hot or too cold. You can never get it right. But aircon is definitely on the list. So if we can make enough money, we'll have a fantastic, cool, lovely, levelled temperature winter, which would be fantastic. And yes.
Can I just have a quick word about auditions and calling me?
Yes.
Okay, so if you decide to go with the song from Les Mis and get that from Chris, I can pretty much play anything from Les Mis, lucky, because that's the show I'm going to be playing. That's worked out all right for me. So I don't need to see you. I can wing it on the night, and you can, and that'll be fine. Anything from Les Mis, I can pretty much wing. If you want to sing something else, my phone number is written here. You can find me on Facebook. Please don't give me the, my audition's 2 days away and I'd like you to learn it, because I can, but I won't. Because it's a lot of people and I have other things in my life too. So yeah, I know good, but I'm not that good to then be able to pick up a lot of people in the last 48 hours. So please do try and make contact with me. And also on that matter too, don't be afraid to follow me up and go, oi, don't forget me. Because it's not that I haven't forgotten you, it's you're on my to-do list and I might not have got to you, but I will get to you immediately if you track me down. So please don't ever think, oh, she's so rude, she didn't message me back. I do have 6 children. They always have my bloody phone, they're always touching it, and then my notifications go away, and they're like, oh man! So please, I'm always playing Candy Crush and I'll swipe my message around me. And I forget it, so please chase me down. But yeah, please make contact if you want to play anything else, or even if you are doing a Les Mis song and you do think, I might go and just practice with that chick because that might make me less nervous on the night. Give me a holler.
Right, so if you want me to email you a song from the show, can I get you to just put your name and email address and either the song you want or the part you think you're going for, and I will email you something. I mean, a lot of people probably have found their own music and things, but that's just the thing if people haven't found anything or they want to use something from the show.
Yeah, you just mentioned it.
The chorus will be doing that one that we just did, and then when we do callbacks, we might do something different, or we might
jazz it up a little bit.
So chorus, you don't have to stress. That's the song we're doing. And even leads, if we want to hear whether you can sing harmony, we may use that song that we learned today to test you out in your harmony singing. If we think we need to do that, who knows?
Okay, so this is what you need to do now. You have to go and register. So, people who are auditioning for solos, for lead roles, you need to go and see Tracy. Tracy's maybe up there in the blue. She's heading up to the foyer now. You need to see her to book a time. Ladies start at 12 o'clock and the men will be booking from 1:30. All chorus need to go and see who's doing chorus. Karen's doing chorus. Karen is on chorus. Hey? No, and see Karen. If you're a child, you need to go and see Shannon. She's about the same height as you, so you'll find her. Hey, thank you so much for your interest and your attention today. It's great. We really are excited, and this is going to be an amazing, amazing show. I'm hanging around. Have any questions? Please feel free to come and see me. Otherwise, see you at the auditions.